Welcome back, I'm Tedward. Welcome to Boston Motorsports here in Brighton, Massachusetts, and welcome to the all-new 2025 BMW M5 Touring, the Wagon. 717 horsepower from this plug-in hybrid with a twin-turbo V8. And I'm not joking when I say Boston Motorsports is your performance wagon headquarters, because check this out. There's a whole line. They've got a bunch of RS6s, an E63. They've got Panamera turbos. They've got everything. And now they got a couple of these bad boys. And when I saw this in the inventory, I said, I absolutely need to take this out because I have not yet experienced it. And all I've heard is that it's heavy and clunky and it's not it. But you know that we can't trust everybody to tell us what we should and shouldn't like. It's still an M5, it's still a BMW, and it still does 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. So what are we talking about here? It's gonna be fun. The beauty too is that we're running errands today. This isn't my typical review. So we're starting hatch open because I've got all these goodies right here for a Lars Anderson Auto Museum giveaway. If you are out of the loop, I did a video about a month ago where I drove a giveaway car. They've got a Porsche 911 that they're giving away. But along the way, before that gets given away, we're giving away all these fun Porsche flash sale things. So you get a watch or some jackets, things like that. But it's a good time. They even gave away a PEC Atlanta experience, which is really fun. I've done that before. And so I filmed some of the commercials for that. But anyway, I think this looks really good. It's growing on me. It's typical BMW styling where when it comes out, we all say absolutely not. And then 2 years later, we're like, hey, that's pretty good. Some things I really like about this car already. Door handles that actually are door handles. It's a real door handle. I know that seems really trivial and silly to be talking about a door handle that way, but I'm so sick of buttons. I'm so sick of those electronic releases, and it's really nice that that moves. And it also doesn't just pop out for me. There's like actually a place for my hand to go. So I don't have to do the S-Class thing or the Porsche thing or even the Prelude thing along the way. Reasonable rear seats. This is probably a great little family car, but not the most legroom in the world. You've got HVAC controls. We're gonna be screen heavy in the M5. But also, before we get on the road, I just want to show you under the hood if we can find a release. There we go. Let's see. It's not the old. Oh, it is. Okay, still pull twice. All right. Just a different lever than usual. Familiar shape hood here. And there it is. We know this power plant, the 4.4 liter twin turbo V8. We saw this in the XM. And yeah, I mean, BMW V8s, German V8s, usually very good. And I really had a good time driving the apt-tuned RS6 the other day. I'm really curious to see how that stacks up against this. And let's get over to the Lars Anderson Auto Museum because I'm cold and would really like to get my job done today. They went like, this is nuts. I mean, dude, we used to be thrilled that we got stitching inside of the steering wheel that looked like M colors. Now look at the HVAC controls. Out of control. Interesting. Still warming it up, so be nice to it. Oh. Effortless. It is big. I mean, so here's the thing. The weight penalty on the wagon versus the sedan is like 150 pounds. So this thing weighs over 5,500 pounds, which is weird because it's not that abnormal anymore. We've got EVs that weigh 10,000 pounds now. So we've gotten used to kind of hustling big cars, but it is a little strange when you're thinking about an internal combustion car weighing this much and it's not a pickup truck. That was half throttle. All right, let's take it on the way to the museum. Let's take it on some back roads because everyone says this car is too big, too clunky, too stiff, too this, too that. And I want to know if that's true. I want to know how this is as a daily driver. Ooh, what's all this about? Well, I could have been having way better light for this camera if I retracted this enormous sunshade. See, I think what I like about this so much is it's the little nuances that in the old days, when we had DCTs on our M cars, there would still be a progressive period of clutch engagement and all this stuff. And then also, an S65 and an E92 M3, for example, didn't really have any low-end torque. So you'd have to kind of get the revs up. This is fascinating because it just goes instantly because you're getting that electric assist. So you're not waiting for that transmission to engage. And then there's just torque everywhere. That is a sensational experience, quite literally. You could wait until you go into the road, but hey, what do I know? Are you crossing? You're just waiting. You're not at a crosswalk, so it's hard to know. Is he crossing here? Yeah, we'll let you go. Great visibility. Can we just applaud some visibility out of a modern automobile? Because I feel like everyone's just relying on cameras these days. And while this does have cameras and you get the top-down thing, I'm going to just do this because you're letting me do it. Thank you. It's always a game of like, I know I don't have the right-of-way, but you're giving me right-of-way. And yeah, this guy just double parked, and that's silly. This is not the place to do that. But this is the thing I want to know. Like, this is in like full stiff mode, right? Hang on, go slow because you never know if someone's just walking up behind a car. Yeah, I'm in Sport Plus here. Let's see. I want to go. Okay, I want Drivetrain and Sport Plus because it's fun, but I want chassis and comfort. Yeah, let's do that. That's good. Let's soften this up. But I gotta say, it's not even that crashy on these roads in the Sport Plus mode. Maybe it's because it doesn't know how to manage the weight. This is funny though, because it comes to an angle here. So it almost looks like it permanently has something to peel, but there's nothing to peel because it's been peeled. See, now that it's in soft mode, it's almost too soft. And it's kind of bouncy. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. This is where the weight comes in, because it's trying to figure out what to do with all of it. Look at all the salt getting kicked up by these guys. Good Lord. See, watch this bump. Ugh. Like, we're just going through it. Whereas, like, I think... sure we don't go head on with anybody crossing double yellows. If we go sport mode on chassis, see, that makes more sense to me. Watch, we'll go over some bumps. Yeah, it takes the bump and it solves it in like one shot. Comfort mode's too soft, underdamped. Classic Boston escape. The B-line going both ways. So the B-line's weird because it's the zigzaggiest, longest version of this. It goes up Comm Ave, whereas the C-line, which is right down there in Cleveland Circle, just a few blocks down that way, that is a more direct straight shot down Beacon Street. So if you're a Bostonian who lives in this area, even though you might have a B-line T-stop like directly outside your door, you probably walk a little further to get on the C-line because it's much faster and reliable than the B-line. All right, let's see how she does over the tracks. This is where the Boston Marathon comes, actually. So it comes around that corner, down this hill, and then takes a left. start. Yeah, this is probably the bumpiest part of the journey. And sometimes when I'm taking cars from Boston Motorsports to the Lars Anderson Auto Museum for Cars and Coffee, I'll be taking a supercar like an Aventador, you know, a Huracan or a 720S or something. And this is always the sketchiest part of it because it's just so bumpy and rutted and nightmarish. And that's the turn for the marathon. Oh yeah. All right, so if the M5 can handle this, let's see how she does. It's not bad. This will be a little bit of a tricky maneuver. Gotta hug the inside, not hit the plow. Oh, we're already fine. And then move over all the way to the right. Plow barely made the corner by the time I got here. And then we want to be respectful in this neighborhood. So like an electric car, this M5 allows you to shoot gaps that you otherwise would need to rely on an incredibly fast transmission and very spooly turbos, which BMW turbo V8s are usually pretty sharp. Like, they're agile engines. They usually do spool up quickly, but it's a very different feeling and phenomenon when you do have electric assist that can just give it to you as much as you want, whenever you want. And that is what I love about M5s back in the day, because they were naturally aspirated. I've got an E39 myself, and I love my E39 M5, and it's not as fast as this, but when I put my foot on the throttle, the car does something. I'm never waiting. And again, fully understand, there's not a ton of turbo lag in turbo M5s, but there is some, and it's not the same. And I won't be convinced otherwise. But when you do hybridize something, that's the ticket. The problem, and apparently the compromise for that, is a ton of weight. A literal ton of weight. What's it sound like if we turn the exhaust off? Crazy that it's legal for me to do this, but if I pick up my phone, absolutely not. Tickets. Yes, very smart lights here in Brookline, Massachusetts. Not a pedestrian for miles, and yet we're getting a walk signal for 15 seconds. We can't even let it open up for very long because it's that fast. Like one squeeze, and you're like, whoa, okay, we gotta bring this down. Turkeys ahead. Challenging the M5. Excuse me, turkeys. Off you go. Please don't peck the car. All right, we have arrived. I cannot wait until spring. I cannot wait until this lawn melts and we can fill it with a ton of fun local enthusiast cars for Cars and Coffee and different lawn events. BMW Day, German Car Day, Mercedes Day, Transporter Fest, Extinct Car Day, all kinds of good stuff. Oh, I love this place. It's just the best. All right, filming done, job done. I've got the stuff that I need to bring back with me, nicely tucked away in this gorgeous wagon. And if you're unfamiliar with the Lars Anderson Auto Museum, this is going to be the Boston location for the best car shows in the area. So they'll line up cars all over here for Cars and Coffee, down there for Overflow. The best of the best sits up at the top of the hill. And this property was actually owned by the Andersons, Lars and Isabella Anderson. So this was their carriage house. They had a huge mansion up at the top of the hill, but the carriage house is what got turned into the Auto Museum. And that's what we know and love here in the Boston area. But this is beeping at me. I wish we had the ability to plug in. That would have been kind of cool. But, ooh, very theatrical. Let's get it started up. Oh, okay. So nothing happens because it's electric right now. Into reverse. Look at these cameras. High definition cameras, baby. That's the stuff. We got to be careful here because what's funny is that although this is a car museum, it's not the car people that drive crazy around here. It's actually the locals who are taking their dogs up to the park up top. They are the ones who drive like 30 miles an hour through this area. It's all covered in snow. I would go down there, but I don't know. I just don't want to mess up the front splitter in the event. Oh, are we just on EV right now? Oh my God. See, I do love a plug-in hybrid. Say what you want about any electric powertrains. I kind of think you're wrong if you just think they're bad. There's something to be said. This will do 25 miles on electric juice alone if it's all topped up, and you can charge that at your house. It doesn't take too long, and that's the kind of thing where you're just parking it in the garage, plugging it in, and letting it do its thing every night. For the biggest show of the year, Tutto Italiano. That's the big Italian car show where all the Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all the Maseratis come out. They fill this top part of the field, but you can see that's where the mansion was. That's where the house was. That's where they lived. But they took it down in the 1950s, I want to say. But could you imagine? Look at this is like the retaining wall of where the house was. Could you imagine having a house right there, and this is your view? I mean, obviously there were no skyscrapers probably, but you know, you can actually, if you had an elevated view, you'd have a full view of Boston over there, which is really cool. Seat's a little crinkly, but maybe it just needs to be broken in a bit. I think we're on regen braking right now. This is cool. I'm kind of digging this. My parents have RAV4 Primes. They are plug-in hybrids, but they definitely do not behave 700 horsepower like this. But it's kind of cool to have the functionality of those cars, and to know that when you're braking, you're actually doing something. You're not just expelling it all to heat. You're regaining some of that kinetic energy and turning it into chemical energy into the batteries, which is really neat. The engine. Kind of an awkward transition there, but I was being a little ham-fisted, so that could be on me. I need to spend some time with the car before I blame the car. If you're wondering why the Band-Aid, oh, another wagon! Let's go! Love to see it. Not an E63, but still, like, I'm gonna be a wagon guy. I'm gonna thumbs up the wagons. Anyway, in typical Tedward fashion, I'm clumsy, and I sliced my finger open on a cardboard box. So I put on a Band-Aid, and I have a little cute Band-Aid with geckos on it, or chameleons, from my niece. I can turn on red here, and if I can't, I'm sure he'll be the first to tell me. So it's downshifting. So the electric motor, I haven't done enough research on the engineering stuff behind this, but the motor must be in front of the transmission then, right? Because it's shifting. Series wagon. So this is actually really cool because look, you can do your M1 configuration in some, you know, crazy traction off hardcore mode, but then you can do your M2 mode and like make it electric mode and your chill mode. And that's such a massive dynamic range that we haven't really got to see in non-hybrid M cars in the past. So that's kind of neat, because I can go M1, fires up the engine, everything's crazy. There's M2, and now I'm electric. Everything turned to blue. Blue means electric. Leave it to me to somehow determine that it's more fun to drive this car in electric mode. Oh, what is wrong with me? Seat climate control. Put the ventilation on. See, I always like these buttons to be actual physical buttons, because I don't like to have to go through menus for seat controls, just because I could have my navigation up and I might not want to not look at my navigation just because I want to turn on my seat heaters. But these are powerful. Whoa. Like, this is actually blowing lots of cold air. I've got ventilated seats in my GX460, and they are but a whisper in comparison to this. Ooh, I see an ID Buzz up there. Yeah, no one's catching that. So cool in the two-tone. Is it really a two-tone or is it a wrap? Because Volkswagen was wrapping them at one point. Jesus. I kind of love this thing. You know, it's very complicated, all this stuff, but like driving the car isn't. And there's a lot to be said for that. This is an easy car, even though there's a lot of stuff going on here. I feel like I don't really have to think that hard just to drive the car. And I gotta say, the Audi RS6 felt a little more unintuitive in some of those ways. Like, it felt like, oh, it's not giving me the full beans because I didn't do this button or that button or something like that. And in this one, I kind of feel like I know what I'm getting. I put my foot down and she scoots. Like, wowzers. This is a two-laner. No, it's not anymore. Look at that, taking some bumps, taking some New England bumps. And not shattering my teeth. I was just driving an M850i, and I had it in comfort mode, and if I hit that bump, that felt like a shock tower was coming through the car. Like, geez Louise. Can't wait till this wretched old bridge is gone. We're gonna watch ourselves here. There's some real nasty potholes. I feel like the title of this could just be Partial Throttle Goes a Long Way. You know what's shocking about this, though, is I still feel really connected to it. I know you've got to manage the weight, but somehow they've managed to give you an intuitive driving experience with way too much stuff going on. And that, I think, needs to be celebrated more often. Let's see. Got this fella. That fella. I mean, I'm short shifting it just because, like, I don't need it. thing is just so silly. It's better than they'd have had you believe, buddy. By the way, this section of the mass bike is lawless, so don't judge if I'm passing on the right. Like, this is just a little section of chaos, and it's understood. It's just understood that once you get past 95, there are no laws. You do what you gotta do. It's every man for himself. But first, I do just want to show you what this does from like 50. That's so silly. What a silly car. Well, thank you guys for coming and running some errands with me today. This was fun to take out. That today would not have been nearly as fun if I didn't have this to play with. Look at I think there's too many shapes in the car. I keep discovering new shapes. Too many shapes. It's so wild. Whatever. You know what? They went crazy. Let them. Oh, it's so good. I want to drive this in the summer when it can hook up properly, and we'll get away from that fella and this fella. One last full throttle feel for good luck. Oh man. All right. Well, I'm going to settle in behind this post office truck, and we're going to pull back into Boston Motorsports and drop this thing off. Wow, thank you guys so much for joining me on this little day of stuff. I would like to run errands in this every day. I really like this. Maybe they'll let me. Maybe they'll let me take it home. I'll have to ask some questions about that. But yeah, I mean, look, we've got a bunch of like ABT tuned, ABT tuned RS6s. They've got all kinds of fast, juicy wagons out here. So if you're looking for something wild and spicy, then this is it. So thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.